Welcome to my backyard for part 3 of the video looking at the Alphard Golf eWheels. Wanted this video to come out a little bit sooner, but we've had a lot of rain lately and I wanted to wait till the ground conditions were good and didn't want to be standing out here in the rain recording a video for you guys. I want to thank all of you who sent me questions in through both YouTube and through the Hackers Paradise forums. If you guys continue to send questions, I'll happily answer them in this series where I go through the use of this product. Today I'm going to answer a couple of those questions, and then I'm going to show assembling it as if we just took this out of the trunk of our car, how it works, and then a test drive in my backyard. I'm fortunate that I have a nice downhill grade in my backyard, so you'll get to see me drive it across the hill, uphill, downhill, test some of the features. I know there's a cruise stops. You can also send it ahead 15, 30, or 60 yards ahead of you. So I'm going to be playing around with some of that, and I'll let you know my impressions. But to start off, a couple questions. Someone asked if with the brackets, does it make my cart actually more compact? And the answer is yes. So I brought the original wheel. If this wheel bracket was on instead right here, it would be a little bit taller because that back wheel can lay a little bit down flatter. But I don't know if that actually is a big deal to me that it's a little bit smaller. The part that I actually appreciate is when I have a couple friends golf bags in the back of my trunk, I usually can't fit the cart, so I throw them in the back seat. And the problem with these things are they roll back and forth if you have them on the wheels. If you flip it upside down, it's round, so it rocks back and forth. It's banging into your seats when you hit the brakes. Just a little bit annoying. Well, with this bracket in the back, it actually sits quite well in my seat. If I put it, I don't have it hitting in the back of me, don't hear it rolling around, beating up my doors. Not an intended feature, I'm sure, but it's nice. Another question I got is, why a 4-wheel golf cart? Why didn't I go with a 3-wheel? Just out of curiosity. You know, that's not really related to the product, but for me, I like when I'm walking down a fairway, if I want to drink ice water and I pull it out of one of the sacks, I just push the cart ahead, give it a little push, especially if it's a little downhill and I drink. I'm also that guy who has seen my bag when I used to have a 3-wheel cart tumble because it starts taking a turn or loses stability. I got the 4-wheel cart solely because of that stability. Now with this unit, the 3-wheel swivel front wheel carts, I hear turns a lot better, a lot easier, more maneuverable. And because I'm not having to push it and trust it, and I can just keep that remote in my pocket and kind of send it 15, 30, 60 yards or have it walk with me, I probably don't need the stability of 4 wheels anymore. But that's one of the reasons I'm getting one of those 3-wheel swivel carts in, and I'm going to show you how that works out and compare that product as well. That's going to be an upcoming video. The final question I got was, how hard is it to open up this cart with the back wheels removed? Do I notice anything different? So, this next part of the video, let's get in. So, when I normally open this up, I normally get that lock to a position, I step where it says step, and I lift up. And I can immediately tell without the rolling wheels, it's kind of grabbing a little bit. So my instinct would be to kind of grab it there until it locks out. A little bit different than normal. Normal, I would just step and pull up and it would lock. And you probably could, you're just going to drag those across the ground. This feels like an ABS plastic type material, so you're probably not going to wear it out too quickly. You'll just start scratching it up. I would baby it personally because I baby all my stuff with kids. I have head covers on my irons today, not because I need head covers on my irons, but because I might actually dump this bag while testing it today. So I wanted to protect stuff as best I could. So, all right. Like I said before, when using the eWheels product, I'm going to try to make sure that it is completely level on either side, correctly gapped. So let me get the wheels pulled out. And I don't know if it'll affect steering if it's not perfectly out, but the OCD person inside of me says make sure that the space on either side of the wheels is equal, and hopefully it'll drive a little truer. All right, that looks about right. Now with this remote control, I read in the book that you hit a button, and if it actually starts driving, it's supposed to come synced up from factory after you turn the power button on. Power button is this big silver button in the center. If it's not synced up, you pull the battery, hold a button. The instructions are on the website, and I believe Alphard Golf even has a video showing you how to do that. I'll be going through that procedure myself if this doesn't talk off the bat, so let's check. It's powered up. It's got a ring of lights where it says battery with 5 white LEDs with the red one in the middle. Oh, she works. All right, I'm gonna change the camera around so you can see the grade in my backyard, drive it around a little bit, and then I'll come back and give you my first impressions of it. So, 1 second. So I have the cruise control feature turned off, which is the feature that'll have it keep up with me. And I'm gonna just start driving it, seeing how it turns. I'm gonna send it ahead. I'm gonna start off by just sending it 30 yards ahead and see how far it goes, if it's roughly 30 yards. And I'm not gonna keep all this footage. You guys will probably get bored, but I'll give you a good example of me going up and down, and then I'll come back and give you my thoughts. So notice that it's actually turning with the hill. All right, I'm gonna see if I can, wow. Turns easy in either direction. And I'm gonna have it come back to me, and I'm gonna throw my cart on it now, my actual bag, to see with extra weight how it drives compared to empty. And I know someone might give me a hard time that I'm taking a stand bag and putting it on this cart instead of using a cart bag, but I've never had a problem using a stand bag on this, and I like it that way in case I just need a stand bag. I already have it. All right. And my bag is decently heavy. I keep golf balls on it and a couple accessories, and this is a full set of clubs with a little orange whip. So she's weighted. Let's see how she drives and how she turns. All right, so I immediately noticed that turning up the hill with all that weight, and even turning this way from a standstill, it's struggling a little bit. Forward and backwards are fine. So my initial thoughts after driving around the yard just for about 25 minutes, battery hasn't come down yet, and I know it's supposed to last full 18. I will do a full on-course test and also give a first impressions. But at first it took a while to understand the steering. It kind of operates like a skid steer for anyone who understands how that works, and that if you want to turn left, it drives the right wheel and keeps the left wheel stopped, so it kind of pushes through on that side. Trying to turn up the hill works a lot better if it's already moving when you go. If you're trying to have it go from a stop, it struggles because it's trying to drag those two front wheels, just slide them across the ground and going uphill with a heavy bag. I was setting up for failure, but I wanted to know how she would do. Once I got the hang of it, had no problem driving it up, down, back, get it turned around. Adds an interesting element. I can't wait to see on the course if it helps me play faster or slower if I'm playing around with it too much. But I do like the idea that I can tell it, I can send it 60 yards up the fairway, or I can put the remote in my pocket once we tee off and just start walking knowing it's with me. If I have to stop it real quick, I just hit that stop button and it stops. I also, while walking it around, wanted to see how it would feel to push it. So I pushed it down and back and uphill and downhill just to get a feel of how heavy is it with this. And you can push it by either turning the power off and you're not fighting the electronics, or if you hold the stop button down for, I think it's 5 seconds, the red LED in the middle goes off, which tells you it's no longer powered, it's released. And you can push it. It's a little bit heavier than if you had your standard wheels. But if you run out of battery mid-round because you forgot to charge it up or anything, you can use it. A product idea that I want to give back to Alphard Golf, and this might sound silly, is that this is clearly clamping onto kind of a square tube. I wonder how many golfers are like myself who love the idea of having the eWheels unit on my cart, but can see I'm only going to go play 9 holes, or I'm going to go play a short par 3 course just working on my short game, and I decide I want the extra exercise today, I want to push it, and I don't want to push the extra weight to this though. I wonder if they can't come up a cheap design with just some cheap lightweight wheels that are kind of similar to the factory wheel size with a decent bearing, and just some aluminum tubing that would collapse down, or that the tubing itself could be separate and you have 2 wheels that they just kind of snap together, you clamp to. Essentially, I'd be willing to pay Alphard Golf to be able to have the ability to use it the original fashion without having to pull 2 bolts out and put brackets back on. It'd be nice to have an option, even if it's just a square aluminum tube with 2 cheap wheels that snap on that are free spinning like the factory, that I can easily pop it on and use it as a cart. So, an idea. Another thing that hit me while thinking about playing a full 18 holes is, I'm one who's always on my feet active, and that's one of the reasons I like trying to walk and play a course and not be sitting down in a cart all the time. No judgment there. I understand some who, drinking a beer, playing golf with your friends, I totally understand that element, and I believe in that as well. But if I'm playing on a Saturday at a municipal course that gets backed up, standing around might start getting a little painful. Most of these have a little umbrella attachment where you can put an umbrella to get out from underneath the sun. And I know most of these have a seat attachment that hooks onto the back clamp where you can have a seat where you can actually sit down. I've never even thought about putting a seat on my cart, but now knowing that I'm going to be pushing for 18 holes, and I could be one of those Saturday rounds where it's going to take you every bit of 4.5, 5 hours to play because it's just a backed up municipal course, it might be nice to have an option on here, a seat. So I'm not sure if Alphard Golf is working on a bracket that incorporates one of the existing seats by one of the manufacturers or their own. But it's a couple ideas I had just thinking about the product, just initial thoughts going back and forth. I would tell anyone before you take this on a course, I would get it in your backyard, get it somewhere you can drive it. The manual does say don't use that cruise control mode on hard surfaces like concrete pavement. I think it can mess up with something, so listen to them, don't mess up your unit. I would just get a feel for driving it so that you're not learning it the first time on the course, because just driving around for 30 minutes, after the first 10-15 minutes, I really got the hang of how to maneuver it, how to send it ahead, how far 15 yards is, how far 30 yards is, how far 60 yards is, so you get an idea when you get on the course. I'm also testing worst case. This is essentially playing in the rough. My grass needs to be cut, it's been raining, and the ground's a little bit soft, so it's kind of slipping, not grabbing as well as it could, but the unit held up great. I'm going to get it charged up, and hopefully this upcoming weekend be able to take it out on a course, maybe get you a little bit of footage of it driving on the greens driving on the greens, driving on the fairways that are shortcut, seeing how it maneuvers on the fairway, and also using the cruise control playing up a hole, maybe even take you guys along, see my wonderful golf game in action. But so far impressed. So far it does what they advertise. It's pretty easy to maneuver. I do think having that swivel wheel in the front will make this even that much maneuverable. From a standstill, it's not having to friction slide the wheels. It'll be able to just snap it around. I'll probably be able to turn in circles would be my first thought. Seeing how it's trying to slide those wheels versus having a wheel that would swivel. Probably going to get a much better experience if you're trying to maneuver it in tight spaces. But let's be honest, driving around a golf cart, usually you don't. Worst case scenario, you're grabbing it and helping it and lifting it. But going in my backyard, even going around my bird feeder, going up and down the hill, getting the hang of it, I didn't have to grab a hold of it. The only time I grabbed a hold of it was when I wanted to understand how hard it was to push it with the weight but not fighting the motor. So impressed. So far so good. Next time I'm going to have it on the course. Please, any questions you guys have, put them in my YouTube comments, or if you want, put them on, I have a thread open on the Hacker's Paradise. Either one of those, you ask me questions, you want to understand anything about this, you want me to try something out with this, let me know. I'm happy to test it and give you more details. If it helps anyone else who's considering making a similar purchase, I'm here to help. Thank you guys. Till next time.